is the second round of the Interprovincial tournament, and after my loss with the candidate master, I need to redeem myself, and if I want to get again to the top boards, I absolutely need to win this game. So he plays knight on f3, which means it's an opening. It's called the Zuckertort opening. And I mean, in this position, usually you can play knight on f6, d5. I play d5 because, as you know, I usually play the semi-Slav. So I intend to reach a semi-Slav position or something that resembles it, at least. And now he plays d4, and it's kind of a normal opening. It's not a queen's gambit because he still has to play c4, but he might play it, he might not. In case I play c6, so if you play c4, we just transpose into a semi-Slav. After we play c4, I can play e6, for example. He plays knight on c3, I play knight on f6, and we play semi-Slav. But instead of doing that, he just played e3. Now, if someone plays e3, first of all, he's not playing the London. And the point of c6 is also that if you play bishop on f4, I have queen on b6, which is annoying. And that probably means that he's going to play b3 and fianchetto the dark square bishop on b2, which is kind of an interesting try. Now I played knight on f6, which obviously is playable. And now you can play c4, and it's a queen's gambit. You still have to develop your bishop. We can still transpose into a semi-Slav if you play c4. But in this position, he just decided to play bishop on d3. Really solid move. He's not really trying to take space. He's just trying to be solid. This is really equal. Black can develop his light square bishop now without any problem. And I mean, I know that usually play the semi-Slav, which requires to fianchetto the bishop, but if your opponent just allow you to have a good light square bishop, like, why not? So for this reason I played bishop on g4 and trying to fight and trying to win this game. And now he develops the knight on d2, which makes sense. He might play c4 in the future, so I mean, yeah, it's a move that makes sense. You don't really want to play knight on c3 because you block the c-pawn. And in this position I play d6 because I want to develop the dark square bishop. And as you see, I have a semi-Slav structure, but my light square bishop is out of the chain, so technically is a better position than usual. Also, my opponent haven't played c4, so I can play bishop d6 without any problem. Now I castle and I play bishop on d6. Now I have two strong bishop, I would say. Black stands pretty good. The position is equal, is 0.2. There is absolutely no problem. And now I play b3 because he wants to fianchetto the bishop, which makes sense. I castle, he fianchetto the bishop, and now I just need to develop one final minor piece, which is this knight. So for this reason I played knight on d7. And now he plays rook on c1, which means that he probably wants to push this pawn on c4, trying to take space, maybe taking, opening the file, maybe then to attack the bishop. So now I can play rook on c8 or rook on e8, probably. I mean, maybe not rook on e8. The problem is that it's not so safe to play e5, probably is not a good move. But yeah, I played rook on e8, which obviously means it's not bad, it's playable. Maybe in the future I'm going to play e5. The point is that I'm not really scared about c4. You can play c4 and what? Just play rook on c8. If you push, my bishop just go back. And if you take, I just take with this pawn. The file is still closed and I have zero problems. So he plays c4 and I play rook on c8, which makes a lot of sense in my opinion. And yeah, this is a point where I gave white a little more of advantage, but it is nothing basically. It's still plus 0.4, plus 0.5. We could play queen on c2. After queen on c2, you can play probably h6, something like that. And I mean, no problem anyway. My opponent played c5. Now, don't love c5. c5 just blocked the position, and I feel like you want... I mean, you are kind of trying to open it. You did this because you want to open the file, not because you want to block it. Also, you might give me a target in the future with b6. And yeah, you are attacking my bishop, but you forgot that I just have bishop on b8. This bishop is a monster. It might not even be easy to see because it's just at the bottom. And it starts at this point, which is, I mean, the most important one. Even if you play h3, I still have ideas of queen on c7, for example. So yeah, this bishop is pretty good, I feel like. Bishop on b8 makes a lot of sense. If you play bishop on e7, what? Just stares at nothing. So yeah, he played h3, which makes sense, and now bishop on h5. Don't really want to play bishop on f5 and damaging the square. I mean, I could. I actually thought about this. I played easy, take, and I'm going to put the knight on this square. Looks good actually. Yeah, I have double pawns, but the file is open. My knight is going to be a monster. I might have ideas of getting in with the queen. So it kinda makes sense. In fact, black stand better in this position, and considerably better. So you're not supposed to take this bishop. But yeah, instead of doing that, I mean, my move was logical. I just played bishop on h5, makes sense. And now I played queen on e8, which kind of a wild move. Like, it's not a blunder, it's not even inaccurate, but... Okay, you are unpinning your queen, but instead of doing that, just queen on c2 makes a lot more of sense. Like, at the end of the day, you just block this file, so I'm not going to open it for now. Just, I can't. Queen on c2, you have pressure on this pawn, and I feel like it makes sense. But yeah, I played queen on e1. So for this reason, I was like, yeah, there is a queen on the e file, so why not to open the file? I played the rook on e8. So e5 has to be a good move, right? So it's time to play e5. e5, it's a blunder. e5, it's a blunder. And I saw this, maybe not after I played it, because it's not even that easy to see. Like, I saw this some second later, and I was like, I fucked up. I just fucked up the game. And there is a line. Now, the best move is taking with the knight. But let's say you take with the pawn. And I think with the knight is pretty much the same thing. You take with the pawn. I have 3 attackers and you have 2 defenders, so... Why can't I take this? Take. Bishop take. Bishop take. Rook take. f4. Rook e8. g4. Bishop g6. f5. Now, as you can see, it's not easy to see this. I mean, I saw this after I played it. It's not easy to see so many moves in the future, and playing e5. You think it's logical, but it's not. I should have seen this. The screw. But yeah, I didn't. And I saw this line and I was like, okay, maybe at this point I could suck. Which, yeah, makes sense, but it's a classical game. He has a lot of time to think about something, so this loses. So this is the position. My opponent took the pawn. But it's not the end. Because usually when I blunder in classical, I'm just like really mad at myself. Then thinking it's classical, there is no way I can recover from this, I'm going to lose. But it's not true at all. Even in classical, people can make a lot of blunders. Like, chess is not easy at all, so even in classical, there is a chance. Also, this position is not lost. At the time, I thought it was really worst. But after I saw the next move, I started to gain some confidence back. That's really important. That's why you should play a lot of tournaments, because with more experience, you gain some confidence. Instead of taking the pawn, because I saw that line, just play knight on e4. And knight on e4 makes sense. This pawn is still hanging. So I might take it in the future. I still have to think about all of these, but I might take it in the future. And this has a point. If you take with the bishop, I take, knight take, bishop take your knight, pawn take, and now you don't have the stuff. I win the pawn back. Stockfish says it's equal. I generally think black stand much better in this position. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare for white to defend all of these. I really like this position for black. And if you take with the knight, bishop takes f3 again. And I mean, it's quite a complicated position. I was like, well, probably has to take this way. Now he says that he has knight on g3. I might be down a pawn, but I'm not sure about that. I have activity, maybe his Prato is going to be worse, so I have some chance. Knight on e5, it's a good move. And my opponent played g4. Now, I thought about g4, and I was really happy to see this move, because Stockfish says it's a blunder, and I actually thought in the game that g4 was a blunder. But why? Why is g4 a blunder? Well, now he says that I can take on c5, because then the bishop is hanging. Don't remember if I considered that. But what I thought in the game was like, I play bishop on g6. Now, if you take with the knight, you lose a piece. If you take with the bishop, I take with the pawn, and I take this pawn at that point. And if I take with this pawn, let's say you play something like this. Just saying. The knight has to move somewhere. Say the knight moves. And let's say I play a random move. You can't play this because I have en passant. I mean, you can play this, but this pawn is going to hang. So you can't really take the knight. That's my point. So this was a really good move. So my opponent played e6. Now, e6 I can't really explain it. Like, you still had this idea. So I'm not really going to take your pawn now. This is just sacrifice a pawn, but for nothing. Because I can take with the pawn or with the rook. And anyway, I just win the pawn back. My strategy is better because now your king is really weak because you played h3 and g4, which is bad, obviously. That's why I'm -3. We had the same material, so yeah, that was a bad move, I think. I take with the rook. Makes sense. Like, if you attack my rook now, with knight on d4, the best move is literally rook on e8, which I played. And basically, black is saying, okay, that's the same position before you sack the pawn, but I won the pawn, and your strategy is really bad. Also, your knight used to defend this square, so I might have ideas of queen on h4. And he played f4. Now, I saw f4 and I thought that was too much. f4 is indeed too much, but in this position I had to play knight on e takes c5. Let's say you play this, I win the bishop and everything, so you can't really do that. The best move is taking this bishop. I guess I'm taking with the h-pawn, yeah? Take with the h-pawn. I want a pawn. Your strategy is terrible, it's absolutely terrible. This knight is going to be a monster, supported by this. This is a threat too, so it's a really good position. I didn't play this, don't know why, honestly. Maybe I was too focused on the king side. In this position I play knight takes knight, which is a blunder. Which is a blunder because I give back all the advantage I had, basically. Which doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's because I saw a line that I thought was really good for black. Which in reality, I mean, is good, but is not as good as I thought. At this point, I also take the bishop so I don't have problems. Queen take. And after queen take, the queen just stopped controlling this rank. So I can play queen on h4. And I thought this was really good for me. And it's imprecise. First of all, he has a knight on f5. Knight on f5, honestly, I didn't even consider knight on f5. Like, it's not an easy move to see, just considering the fact that you're going to lose this pawn. It's not an easy move to see. But now that I think about this, might make sense. Although, let's say you play knight on f5, just take the pawn. Or you play rook on c2, just defending from everything. Yeah, this is not easy to see. My opponent played the second best move, which is king on g2. So I thought it was better, but after king on g2, actually I have nothing. That's the problem. So I give away all my advantage. And now, why stand better? Because this structure start to make sense now. I play g6, which is the best move. g6 just prevent knight on f5. I actually thought I could have still played knight on f5, but I wasn't really sure about that. Let's say you play knight on f5. I take queen take. Looked a bit dangerous for black, but yeah, probably is not. Just says, take this pawn, just remove another defender, he has absolutely nothing. Yeah, okay, makes sense. So my opponent, instead of playing that, played knight on f3 attacking the queen, which is inaccurate. Probably he thought he was winning at this point because I played queen on e7 and he played queen on d4. Which I kinda missed, honestly, but it's not even such a big threat. Okay, I mean, you're threatening mate, I get it. But it's not hard to stop this, just play f6. f6 is defended 2 times. The knight can't get in. Let's say you play g5. Play g5, I probably have something like this, for example. I mean, I'm going to find a way to survive. Let's say you play g5, I guess it's queen. No, just queen take this. Yeah, I mean, this is also hanging too. So he played rook on e1. So now we might threaten g5. Probably, and I really don't like this battery. I mean, okay, it's not hard to stop, but I don't love it, you know. So I played queen on e4, which is inaccurate, I don't know why. Makes sense, makes sense. Goes back with the queen because he doesn't want to trade. But I don't know, I mean, at this point, it was really low on time. Like, I had 20 or 30 more minutes than him. Maybe you should play queens and try to draw. Because, I mean, with queens it's really tricky, and if you don't have time, I mean, I have a lot of time to think. That's the point. Now I play g5. G5 is the best move, and I'm really happy about this. Now I just was kinda pissed. I mean, I lost against the candidate master. I just didn't want to lose again. I just didn't. And I started calculating all the white stuff. And I found g5. g5, it's a really good idea. Just getting to take. Take and getting in. And it's not even that easy to stop. Let's say if you take this way, you have bishop on e5 and the knight is pinned. I'm going to take this. Look on f8 is coming. I have a lot of good ideas. So he played king on f2. And that's what I was saying. You have low time, this is a really complicated position. You should have played the queen. G take f4. And he takes back. Queen take on f4. And now, as you can see, g5 made a lot of sense. A lot of pressure on the king, on the knight. This is coming. If you played, I have the control of the file. It's a pretty good position. Also bishop on e5 is coming. Rook on g1. I can't really explain to you. Maybe the point was to play rook on g3. But it's really slow. And at this point I play bishop on e5, attacking the queen. The knight can take, obviously, because it's pinned. So you have to move the queen. Bishop take, queen take. And in this position I had an absolutely winning move. Like GG, it's over. Rook on e3. Rook on e3, it's unstoppable. Just, you can't defend this knight. You can play rook on g3, but then there is knight on e5. But in this game, I commit a really bad mistake that I did even in another game. Which was just to play faster, because my opponent was low in time. The problem of playing faster is just that you throw your advantage. And this kind of pointless because you're not going to win on time. So just play the best move and you're going to win on the game because you're not going to win on time. I mean, I'm still winning after I play this. But Rook on e3 was just dead lost. Now White still has a chance. That's the problem. So he played King on g3. And I play Knight on e5. Now, Knight on e5 made sense in my mind. I mean, doesn't look like absolutely idiotic. I missed Rook on c3 because I'm playing faster, which again, it's really stupid by my part. And I played Queen on h6. Now, the best move is Knight on d3. Honestly, Knight on d3, didn't even consider it. And even if I took 20 minutes in this position, I probably wouldn't even find Knight on d3. But yeah, I played Queen on h6. And he decided to take the Knight. Which I knew for a fact this was bad. Because I can't take with the pawn. And I had 2 beautiful pass pawn. So my plan could also be played in everything and just win this endgame. Just straight up win this endgame. Because I have 2 pass pawn. How are you going to stop them? 2 pass pawn are really strong. So I take control of the file and I played e4. Now e4 is a key move. e4 just not allow him to double the rook. And also take his space and then threatening to push this. e4 it's a pretty good move. He played h4. Now h4 doesn't make a lot of sense. In this position his mistake was misunderstanding the position. You're not the one attacking. He's not the one attacking. This position is dead lost for the white. I am the one attacking. If you keep pushing this pawn, it's just getting worse for you. You're just wasting moves. Now my pieces are getting really active, so I take control of the file. And he played g5, as I said, doesn't make a lot of sense. Should I play queen on g7? I played queen on g6. Queen on g6 has a point though. But yeah, queen on g7 was better, just pins everything. He goes back with the rook, and the point of queen on g6 is that I want to play rook on f5. If you take queen take, I have the control of the file. You can't play another rook on f1 obviously, so it makes sense. You can't really take. Now double the rooks. This position is beautiful. And now I think I played a good move, like a good converting move. It's not the best, but makes a lot of sense. So I give this check. If you move the king, I mean, good luck. Good luck. So you played, I take. In this position, the only thing I considered, because all the rest is just dead lost, is king on h2. After king on h2, I have queen on h5. You can't play this. I don't see a way to stop this. You just have to run and pray, but it's dead lost. So I knew for a fact that I was winning this game. But even better, my opponent played g4. And how many times did you see this? How many times did you see a pawn mate in a classical tournament? Yeah, this was a really beautiful pawn mate. My opponent even missed it, just look at the board, was a bit confused. He tried to move the king because it was a really long time. I probably had less than a minute, so like I'm not saying it's bad. It was a really long time, and then he saw that, you know, this pawn can take en passant because he's pinned. So yeah, this was a really good mate. The game wasn't really good by me. Like, I had a lot of winning chance and I didn't take them. Although one thing I got better with is just nerve, because I made a mistake and I managed to win this game. It wasn't a clear conversion, but I managed to do that. So I'm getting even better at that. This is a good win, but I still have to play other 3 rounds and I want to be back at the top boards. I want to gain a lot of points. I want to play against the big guys, you know. So I still need to win some games. In the next game I'm going to fight against the 1700, which is pretty strong. So So stay tuned and see you in the next video.